You've got a new Premier, David Crisafulli. I'm right, am I not, that during the election campaign he made it clear that he does not support this nuclear plan. Do you know if Peter Dutton's tried to change his mind, and can he change his mind?
Well, I wouldn't have the inside information on that. I would hope that David would come around. He's one thing he's not. He's certainly not silly, and I think if he wants to actually do something about getting Queensland's emissions down, and if he wants to do it in a way that actually protects the environment, then he should get on board with this. I mean, I could and should speak about the Lotus Creek wind farm in central Queensland on the Great Dividing Range. It's sort of roughly halfway between Mackay and Rockhampton. Mate, they are about to, well, they've just started dozing 400 plus hectares of land. There are at least 100 plus identified koalas in this area and glider species. Mate, we are destroying the environment. We are destroying the beautiful scenic amenity of Queensland. This is on top of the Great Dividing Range, so that we can go to supposedly lower emissions. And, wind is better than solar in terms of 24/7 energy generation. But, is the environmental impact worth it? And I would say, look, I flew out of Canberra the other day with my wife, Lisa, and we're flying north and we're looking out the plane window and there's just wind farm after wind farm that you could see. It's a blight on the landscape, and future generations are likely to actually curse us. Perhaps, hopefully, they'll curse Bowen for the blight that's been imposed on these natural landscapes. And this area, Lotus Creek, is a wild area. And so I'd say to David Crisafulli, please get behind Peter Dutton. I'm afraid the battle for Lotus Creek is lost, but there will be other projects that are going to wreak similar environmental damage, and they should be stopped.
And I presume that big concrete slab we just saw there is the footing for a turbine. So then you're going to have what, I can't remember how tall these things
40.
are, but they're
250 metres tall, roughly. Yeah, they're huge structures. They're there for the structures will be gone. In the ground will be there long after the wind towers are gone. I mean, Jim Wilmot from the Libertarian Party, who's the lead Senate candidate, has been out there talking to communities across Queensland. And I can tell you now, Steve, that there are many, many people who are very distressed about this from across the political aisle, if I can put it that way. People who are true environmentalists, who have voted either for the Labor Party or Greens, are very concerned about this. Farmers, graziers, people in rural communities are seeing the natural environment, the scenic beauty being destroyed. And really, we don't have to do it. And it's not just the project, it's the transmission lines that suddenly have to be extended for many of these projects, again, cutting a swathe through the landscape. Whereas the Coalition's nuclear plan sees these plants being placed at the existing nodes where power stations have been, and the infrastructure is already there. We're not having to build the transmission lines crisscrossing the country. That's where the true savings will come from what the Coalition is proposing.
Yeah, you and I are old enough. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to go back to the days of the Greens being led by someone like Bob Brown, who actually cared about the environment, and spent his time saving the Franklin and not letting all of that beautiful bushland that you've just shown us be dug up and destroyed. I mean, the Greens Party have just turned themselves into a bunch of inner city activists.
Well, it's just this zealotry we're seeing from the Labor Party and from the Greens. It is absolutely sort of intransigent zealotry where they will not accept that there are real costs that are coming. It's like, if you wanted to go and build a residential subdivision in the Bayside areas around Brisbane where there was koala habitat, I can tell you now, you wouldn't get approval. You'd be there shut down with red and green tape for years. It just wouldn't happen. In contrast, these regulators seem happy to just wave through these projects because, mate, they're out of sight, they're out of mind, and people in the cities aren't seeing them. But I think people are waking up. By the way, Bob Brown has taken a stand against a wind farm. When I last checked in, I think in the northwest coast of Tasmania, I think it's the Robbins Island, if that's the name, if my memory serves me correct. He's taken a stand against that because of the environmental impacts of a wind project. That's the important point here. There are costs and benefits and trade-offs with all these projects. The great thing about nuclear is that we save an enormous amount of money on transmission and we don't destroy the natural beauty and environment of Australia at the same time.
Hey, Campbell, I've enjoyed our Friday night chats right through the year. We're back next year. We'd love to make sure you're with us. So have a great Christmas with your family, and we'll talk to you in the new year.
Merry Christmas, Steve. Yeah.